Thank you, Max. Happy to present this topic to the African ground handling community. What if operational excellence was affordable? And certainly, why is the time now? Let me perhaps first start with a small introduction on TCR, the worldwide leading GC provider. If we look at some figures, TCR has over 35,000 GC owned within its fleet that are rented across 140 airports within 20 different countries. TCR provides its services through its more than 1,300 employees and has a customer retention rate of around 95%. The focus of TCR and its main services are the GC rental, the maintenance, the fleet services, and the sale of second-hand GC. If we come back to the focus and the topic of this presentation, what if operational excellence was affordable? TCR is convinced that the time is now, mainly if we look at the GC trilemma and the role GC plays within the operational excellence. So within the operational excellence and the GC, we see that the ground handlers mainly look for GC which is reliable, affordable, and where they have a continuous flow of GC with short lead times. In a traditional market, it's quite difficult to combine those three dilemmas, as would you choose, for example, to go for new equipment, you would find reliable GC with a continuous flow, but you would, for example, lose on affordability and lead times. Traditionally, would have you chosen, for example, for used GC, you would have found it more affordable with short lead times, but, for example, with a risk of having less reliable assets. Even though TCR is convinced the time is now, within the COVID crisis, to actually find a solution to tackle the three issues within the trilemma, or three challenges. Let me first start with the impact of COVID on the GC. So overall, there has been a decrease of around 50% in flights, which has also decreased the need of GC with 50%. If we would look towards the TCR fleet, we see that TCR is more than twice the amount of used assets available within its portfolio, with an average age which is much younger than in the past. Secondly, if tomorrow a ground handler would look into the startup of a new airline or in a new airport and look at the needs with regard to GC for that startup and the handling of, for example, A300 or A330, we would see that they would need to source around 15 motorized assets. The sourcing of those motorized assets within a new fleet would cost in average around 1.7 million and have a lead time of up to 6 months. Would we compare this to used assets within, for example, TCR catalog, we would see that the sourcing would cost around 30% of the price, and you would have very short lead times, as the assets would be available within the TCR fleet. A third point to tackle within the trilemma is actually the quality of the GAC, and let's say the guarantee of have safe and reliable assets. To tackle this point, TCR guarantees up to 1 year warranty for refurbished assets that come from within the TCR fleet, as TCR has been a world-leading maintenance provider over the last 20 years. Additionally, linked to the COVID crisis, TCR knows that cash is key. That's why TCR gives a best price guarantee, meaning that if a customer would find a similar asset in the same conditions at a cheaper price, TCR would align its price. And on top of that, TCR also offers flexible payment options as to enable a ramp up in line with the ramp up of the operations. So meaning that if we would look at the trilemma and the questions and compare new GC versus TCR second-hand GC, we can see a lot of different advantages. Meaning with the second-hand GC, you would know that you have very short lead time as the assets are available today. We would have cheaper assets as the price would be around 30% of a new asset. You would get a warranty with TCR, which would enable the reliability and provide sort of a guarantee on safety. Regarding the age, we know that today the assets available within the market are much younger, so it's not used, but it's young GAC. And then TCR additionally, on top of that, to help with the upcoming ramp up of the activities and the cash need, TCR also works around flexible payment options. Meaning that today, TCR is convinced to being able to give and source a solution regarding the trilemma through its second-hand GAC available on the market, as we can provide affordable assets with short lead times and in a reliable and safe condition. I would like, therefore, to invite you to actually test us and find us on the TCR website, or find us back in April on an auction that will be planned. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I'm available for any additional questions.
Thank you very much, Arnaud. If you have a question for Arnaud based on what you've just seen on those slides, then just drop it into the Q&A. Arnaud, I'm hoping I can bring you on screen for the next couple. Hello, Arnaud. Welcome.
Hi, Max.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for the presentation. We've got a couple of minutes, and if you do have questions for Arnaud, do drop them in the Q&A. Arnaud, one from me. You talked there about lead times, and just be interested to know a bit more about the sort of length of lead times on some of the equipment right now, and if you are a handler, what sort of time frame are you looking at?
For delivery of used assets, I would say within Africa, we would talk about 3 to 6 weeks. So just actually, it's the time to organize shipments and transport towards Africa. As they are available today, you don't have the additional lead time of the production time for the new assets. So
that's rapid. That's good. That's what we need right now. That agility and the ability to pick things up quickly. Another question that I had looking at those slides was around, you talked about flexible payment options, and that's a big pressure liquidity on the market right now. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you are able to deliver that and the sort of options you have?
What we try to do is based on, it's a case by case. So it's not that tomorrow everybody would receive the same conditions. So based on some guarantees we could, for example, acquire from a customer, for example, through a bank guarantee or something else, we can actually organize a phased payment. Let's say that currently, for example, we're working on a file where the customer could pay a monthly amount spread over an amount of, let's say, 2 years. But it's all really a case by case based on, for example, the guarantees that we could get through, for example, a bank or something like that.
And basically, I'd be interested to know in summary, what sort of feedback are you having from customers in Africa right now, as this crisis has deepened? What sort of comments and decisions are you hearing?
So the question is what the
the feedback from the market. So what sort of experiences TCR customers are, what are people saying to you?
Currently, we've seen that there's a decrease in requests from the African markets, even though recently we have, for example, a shift in that. For example, we know that Mozambique has launched some new requests. So we see that let's say in the last month, we've seen that there's been let's say a reborn of activity, and that people are already preparing themselves for the upcoming activities that will pick up, let's hope as from, I don't know, the summer. And so we see that today people are starting to prepare themselves, even though it was very quiet, let's say last year. We see that people are currently preparing themselves for the upcoming flights and, let's say, new customers, new challenges.
That's good to hear, but brighter times ahead. Thank you very much, Arnaud. We will pass, if you do want to contact Arnaud, you can, as I say, drop a question in the chat forum here, or you can send one via your personal page. Anything you want to know about what you've seen, then please get in touch with us, Arnaud. I think you put up some email addresses there as well, and I'm sure you'd be happy to answer. Anything else you wanted to add from a TCR perspective?
No, that's all for me. Let's hope for some quick changes within the market dynamics and that we get to the end of the COVID crisis.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Arnaud. Enlightening presentation. Thanks for your time.
Bye-bye.
And do drop your questions through to Arnaud and he'd be happy to answer them.